ready for the next episode. Can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snap shoes off, no remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.
Hi guys, welcome back to our discussion of season 1 of the White Lotus. This is next episode with your host Nick
and Jess.
And so I want to talk about another set of guests. I feel like framing like our discussions around the guests is like an easier way because we can kind of bring in the workers that way. And so I want to discuss like the family next. The Mossbacher family.
Girl, you were good.
I wrote it down.
When I had no clue. Okay, so a lot of interesting family dynamics there. So the Mossbacher family is like a super rich, well, they're all rich, but this woman's like a driven career woman. She's like CEO of a company, I want to say.
She's the CEO of a search engine called Poof.
And then the family consists of her husband, her son, a daughter, and her daughter's friend who comes along with them on vacation.
Yes. And so what is interesting is you would think that, okay, they're going on this vacation. I think it's like they're supposed to be spending like 2 weeks initially, I believe, in like this beautiful resort in Hawaii. And you would think that everybody would be like really happy and really excited. Like from the very beginning, like these people are almost on the line of depressed.
Oh yeah. They're miserable. The daughter is unnecessarily bitchy to me. Like she really has an issue with her. Like that bothered me. I'm like, because you've clearly they've been given everything. They've grown up with money. Mom does everything, even to the point of paying for your friend to come on vacation, which you have no value of. But like that's a big deal for this kind of expensive behind resort. And she's just so nasty to her mom. There seems like there's some marital tension between the couple. And then the son, I don't think they explicitly stated whether or not he is on the spectrum, but is possibly on the spectrum.
I agree. He's got something going on.
There's something going on there, and so then there's tension between him and the sister. The sister pretty much hates everyone but the dad and her friend.
I would argue that she doesn't like her friend either. Not fully.
Oh yeah, it's not for real.
It's living frenemy. So Nicole, who is the mom, she's like the CEO, and she's on family vacation, but she's still doing things. She's still working, taking phone calls, like doing emails, and I know that bothers the daughter. It doesn't. I don't know if it bothers the husband, but it definitely bothers the daughter, and the son is oblivious to what's going on.
Completely. I don't know why it bothers the daughter. She doesn't want to spend time with her mom. I think she just wants to point out anything that she could see as a flaw, honestly.
Yes. So this is what I think when it comes to the mother-daughter relationship. Her mom is insanely successful, and I don't think that her daughter feels like she can compete with the things her mom has achieved. And so she's decided to opt out. And that's why I feel like she's so anti-capitalist. She's so like
really.
No, but in her stance when it comes to her mom, like she's like anti-capitalist and super leftist, and we need to tear down all these systems of oppression
while she's enjoying all the benefits of the systems of the oppression.
Exactly.
And all the benefits of capitalism.
Exactly. It's superficial.
It is so superficial.
It's not well thought out. There's a lot of buzzwords and but I honestly
holes in her theories.
Right. I really honestly think it's because like she doesn't feel like that she can keep up with her mom's accomplishments, and so she's decided I'm just going to opt out and make in order to make myself feel better, I'm going to tear her down, because that's one of the things that you see. Her name is Olivia. Olivia tears everybody down. Everybody. And you can only do that when you hate yourself. To be that committed to being so destructive to other people, that's
Mhm.
because you hate yourself and you want everybody else to be in as much
Is
pain as you
miserable.
are.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's an air of resentment between like with everybody but the son. The son is just kind of oblivious to a lot, but like
Mhm.
both the dad and the daughter, like they benefit from and they enjoy all the fruits of the mom's labor, but they heavily resent her for it.
1,000%. 1,000%. The husband whose name is Mark, does Mark work?
That's a good question.
I'm not sure. I'm quite sure he
I'm not
does
sure.
work, but it's very clear that he's not as successful and
Nowhere
that
near.
the wife makes the majority of the money. And
Hmm.
he does feel emasculated by that.
Yeah.
He does feel resentful of that. You
Hmm.
find out that he actually cheated on her.
Hmm.
And I honestly think that that was like him wanting to feel like he was getting back at her for her being successful,
Yeah. Agreed.
which is so, it's such a weird thing. And it's honestly, it's common. And
It is common.
it's common, but at the same time, I'm like, don't we hate this story? Like, don't we hate the successful woman who can't be domestic and, so she emasculates her husband? And I don't even think she's actively trying
She
to
does not emasculate her husband. He feels emasculated,
right.
which I honestly feel like is more accurate because a lot of times, like, and when men are in these situations, they act like the woman is doing something to them. Now, don't get me wrong. The mom is not a saint. She got her own problems, but
Mhm.
like, she is not emasculating him. He just feels emasculated and he takes it out on her.
Right. And I'm just like, well, if having a woman who is strong and successful bothers you, why not go and find someone else who's not strong and successful? No, you won't have all of the benefits of
Hmm.
the things that she provides, but you will have, I guess, that feeling of masculinity that you desire.
Hmm. Yeah, but you won't have that lifestyle either.
Right. Because I'm like,
And that's the
who's
thing. I
happy?
think that's I'm sorry. I think that's the frustrating thing for me is that neither him nor the daughter, with all their complaints, will give up the lifestyle. Like both of you could. She could also opt, the daughter could opt out of the money. She could do things on her own. So she is anti capitalist and believes that, and go, live in a hovel and
Hmm.
do whatever. He could leave and go take care of a woman who is not as successful as him and feel like the man, but they won't.
Right. Because I'm like, I don't feel like the wife is happy. I don't feel like Nicole is happy in the marriage.
Nobody
I
is.
don't feel like Mark is happy in the marriage. So I'm like, why are you guys, why are you doing this?
Hmm.
He doesn't appreciate the things that, you're doing to provide for the family. Like, you guys aren't connecting because she's so focused on like her career that
Hmm.
she's not creating time and space for them to connect,
Hmm.
even with her kids. Like,
Yeah.
she's so committed to financially taking care of them that she's not there for them emotionally. Even the way she talks about the son,
Hmm.
when she's like, oh, it's so hard for young men his age, because they're now at the bottom of the totem pole, like all of that. And I'm just like, listen, that is not the reason why your son acts the way that he's acting. We're going to
No, no.
ignore the fault.
He says young white men, and that's where the mom is also problematic.
Yes, she is problematic because first of all, what she's saying is complete BS. But
It's complete BS.
let's assume for a microsecond that what she is saying is true. That is still not the reason why your son is having
Hmm.
the issues that he has. That man needs like, he needs like a support person. He
Hmm.
needs like somebody teaching him life skills. He needs socialization. Like, he doesn't have he has no friends. He couldn't bring a friend on the trip.
Hmm.
That's not because he's a white man and because people are seeking equity. Something is
Hmm.
wrong with him. He's missing something, and you're not paying him enough attention. You're not giving him what he needs. And that's
You're
not
just
just her.
excusing him.
Right. That's
You're
not
just
just her
excusing him.
job. It's his father's job too. But they are
Very true.
failing their children as parents.
Hmm.
They're not parenting their kids. They're
Hmm.
just like financially taking care of them, but they're not like actually looking into their needs. Their daughter is a drug addict.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She's a drug addict and she's miserable. I think she may even have a personality disorder. Like she's at the very least a big bitch.
She's a big bitch. I'm gonna
And
tell
you're
you.
not helping her to develop morals and values and actually care about people.
No, she's not. I'm gonna be honest with you. And this doesn't make me the best person. If I was the mom, I would leave them all. Oh, except for the son, honestly, because like the son just needs some support and structure that he's not getting. But them other two, if I make your life so miserable, have at it, Hoss.
I would definitely like cut them off
Hmm.
financially.
Hmm. And I'm like, honestly, the way that the daughter talks to her mom is so freaking evil that I would like, college is on you. Whatever you do after here, you know what? You ain't got to deal with none of my capitalism. I'm taking all of my capitalism and going somewhere else. I'm gonna put my son in the program. We're gonna figure this issue out. But you and your daddy y'all have fun.
The funny thing is, I would cut her off financially, but still try to talk to her and spend time with her. I'm like, okay, like I would, because I'm like, I'm trying. The point I want to prove is that you don't really want me emotionally or
Hmm.
financially. You just want something to complain about to give yourself like more depth. So
Hmm.
you're not a
I
spoiled little
don't know if
rich
that
girl. You're a
relationship is worth
revolutionary.
salvaging. Hmm. Who does all the spoiled
I
little
don't
rich girl
know.
things? Who does sorry, who does all
I
the
would at
spoiled little
least
rich
want
girl
to try.
things and other people who don't have as much money? To me, I'm like, you like, as much as you pretend to be anti-capitalist, you still judge people who you see as poorer than you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay, so breaking down like each person and why they are a
Okay.
miserable entitled person. So Nicole, she's a CEO, and she meets Rachel, who is one of the other
Girl.
guests. Rachel is part of like the married couple, and they're on their honeymoon. And so Rachel introduces herself. They have what starts out to be actually a really good conversation, and then Rachel mentions that she wrote a profile on
Hmm.
her, and Nicole gets so nasty.
Hmm.
And I was kind of
She
shocked by
does
that.
like, okay, but wasn't the profile like a hit piece? What was it? Or did
That's
she
what
say something
Nicole
crazy in the
said,
profile?
but Rachel didn't see it like that. One, which I thought was weird, Rachel said that she was repurposing a profile that somebody else did. And I'm like, that's
Hmm.
weird. Why wouldn't you write your own
And lazy.
piece?
That sounds
Right.
lazy.
But she, I don't think Rachel saw it as a hit piece. She thought that she was like writing a nice profile, and because she was basing it, or I guess on like something she got from a more prestigious newspaper, she was caught off guard when Nicole was like, "I hate you."
She was, but and I wish I could remember the exact phrase that Nicole was responding to, because I remember when she said it, I was like, "Why did you even approach her? If you said that
She,
to her about her, I
she
can't
said she
remember."
rode the Me Too wave. I think it was like something like she rode the Me Too wave.
Okay, let me tell you why I would be pissed about that too. Because you're basically discounting all the hard work and everything that I've done to be successful, to just say I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, when clearly you see how hard this woman works. And I'm sure to break in as a CEO at that level in a tech space, she has been working for years before she really took off. So to say I rode the Me Too wave, I'm like, I knew it was something. I would have been pissed too.
Two
So
things
now,
can be true.
no, 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 they can't. Like, well, I mean, it could be true that like maybe the Me Too situation happened and it moved a man out the way and opened up space that I could be promoted. But I did not ride the Me Too wave. That man got kicked out of his job because he couldn't keep his hands to himself, and that's different. Don't act like, you know what I mean. To me, I do feel like she was discounting her success.
I've when I what I took when she said
Hmm.
it was that this woman had already been doing the work and doing the work for a long time, and the Me Too movement created an opportunity for her to finally move up to a space that she already deserved. I
I didn't
because
take it
I
that way.
just know, I guess that's how, and I don't, and that's not how Nicole took it either.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm trying to give Rachel some grace on how she could have written it and not realized that
The
the woman was
implication.
offended, because she was looking, I think she was looking at it differently. She's
Mm-hmm.
looking at it like, oh, Me Too allowed like women to get the opportunity that they hadn't gotten before, not because it was undeserved, but
Oh,
because they're already going to look at like
listen.
men. And
I
that's
said
what I'm saying. Two
Nicole
things
is a
can be
mess,
true.
but I would have took that the same way.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Two things can be true. Like, Nicole could be offended because she felt like she was saying that she didn't work hard to get there. And Rachel can be shocked because she was saying, like, you're finally, like, Me Too is allowing you to finally get the place that you deserve.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But I just like,
Mm.
it was just
And
how
like it.
quickly Nicole went from like girl power, women supporting women, encouraging her, to be like, I hate you
Mm-hmm.
in
No,
2 seconds.
again, I feel like I'm defending Nicole more than I want to because I don't necessarily like her either. But like no, because like yeah, I'm girl power till I feel like you are not. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you know what I mean? Like if you are trying to make it seem like, and like I said, I would take it the same way. So I'm like, you trying to make it seem like I didn't really deserve my success. Or I didn't work to get where I was, or I was, somehow riding a wave of something that had nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? Like the Me Too, like it had nothing to do with me.
So I'm going to tell you who Nicole is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Nicole is one of those women who are like all about success, all about like power, all about women need equality and doors opened as until they walk through, and then the door can close.
Mm-hmm.
Because for
Mm,
her to make that comment, being upset about saying that the woman rode the Me Too movement, but also saying it's hard for young white men,
mhm.
lets me know that she does not like you love Clinton, right? So
But
you
you,
but you really don't care about people who are not like you.
no, and listen, I can agree. I don't get that from that comment because I'm like I said, if I feel like she would have been willing to help the other girl, and she would have been like girl power with her, which again, to be honest, is fair as another white woman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, until she felt like attacked by her. And I'm like, I can't say that I would have acted differently because if I feel like you're trying to attack me, then yeah, no, I'm not going to help you in any way or be a mentor or be, no, you got it.
Mm-hmm.
We got issues. We got beef. But agreed in the sense of like, she's not pulling up women of color. She's not pulling up anybody else. She's just wants white women to have equality to white men.
Right. Like, she doesn't like that's what I'm saying. Her equality extends to her, and then that's where the line is drawn.
Mm-hmm.
To say that, like, oh, it's so hard for young white men who have always had privilege.
Every privilege.
What is it? Isn't there a quote that says equality can feel like oppression, like
Mm-hmm.
when you've never like experienced it before, like
Yeah.
when you've never
I know what you're
experienced,
talking about.
you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. It's like, oh, she feels so bad for her son that he might actually have to compete against
Oh
people
my God.
and not get that extra push that comes
Mm-hmm.
from being a rich white male.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like looking at him and knowing her son cannot compete because something is wrong with him.
Yeah.
She's like,
Well,
give him sympathy. No,
the
you give him resources.
okay, it's when you're accustomed to privilege, equality feels like oppression.
Thank you. Yes. So yeah, but I dislike Nicole as a person, but I feel like the way her family treats her is insane, and nobody
It's
deserves
insane.
to be treated like that.
Yeah, and that's why I would be like, I'm cutting my losses.
Hmm.
But
When she
she
left
doesn't.
the boat crying, Like
Yeah.
I honestly
And
felt really bad for her. I
I felt
did.
so bad for, and that's the thing. That's the two sides of it. Is because again, I don't think that she's a good person either. But I did feel bad for her, and I didn't want the husband to go after her. I was like, no, let her have a moment. Just
Hmm.
let her have a moment. She needs to be away from y'all. Get your behind on that boat. Go with the kids and let her be by herself because none of you all and take every single moment to let her know that you do not want to be bothered with her.
Right. Like the husband's selfishness. So he's
He's so
already
selfish.
like committed adultery, right?
Hmm.
He's committed adultery and she has forgiven him, but she's still not over it. There's still some hurt there. And the thing that she asked for in that situation is to keep it between the two of them and not involve the children.
Hmm.
The husband has an identity crisis because he
Yeah.
finds out that his dad was closeted and he ends up dying of AIDS and he thought his dad died of cancer like when he was like 15. This man is clearly pushing 50.
Hmm.
And and he spirals and somehow that it spirals into him like divulging to the son that he cheated on his mom and that to pay her back, he bought her a $75,000 bracelet.
Yeah. Probably with her money. But oh,
That
sorry.
it was not with his, he specified, I spent my own money on it. But I'm
Oh, he
like,
did
if
say that.
you, he did, but this is immediately what I thought. The reason why you have $75,000 to spend on that bracelet is probably because she's paying the living expenses.
True.
You know
So
what I'm saying? Like, I
mhm.
don't believe you guys are going 50-50 and you bought her that $75,000 bracelet.
Mhm.
So in a sense, she's still paying for it because she's paying for your lifestyle.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it's I and so like the dad's identity crisis, it is like he's like, I didn't know the real truth about my father. And I don't feel like I'm a good father, so I need to try to find a way to connect with my son.
Mhm. And I would say this on his face, I get him that find out the truth about his father throwing him and him having to reconcile with that because I think like to me the daughter focused on like or just kind of brushed past it because like oh it's okay that your dad was gay. I'm like he's not, it's not just about that. He found out that he didn't really know his father like he thought he knew his father. I'm like but like and let's not go also with the fact that he's also reconciled like his dad essentially cheated on his mother their entire marriage. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot. It's not just about him finding out that his father was gay. You know, I'm like, it's like I did not know this man. Now he then takes it to a weird place when he talks to Armand. But yeah,
He does.
but I
He
do
so
understand that throwing him.
he had an idea of who his father was, and
Hmm.
he measured himself up against that his whole life.
Right.
And so finding out that he didn't know his dad at all,
Hmm.
he kind of lost his bearing on, well, who am I if I've always compared myself to who I thought he was? If he's not the person that I thought he was, then I no longer know who I am. And
Yeah,
how
and
do
that
I
part I
measure
get.
myself?
That part I absolutely get.
Yes. And I feel like the daughter was very disrespectful because
Me
she
too.
was trying to make it about like homophobia. And I
Yes,
don't it wasn't about homophobia.
not
It
completely.
was it was about sense of identity,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And
It's a little bit in there, but it was such the it wasn't in the conversation he was having with her. I feel like
no.
the homophobia came out more so in the conversation he was having with Armand. But
Was
like
it it was like if it I don't know that the
homophobia
dad I wouldn't
might be the wrong term, but it's
right.
incredibly invasive the question he asked Armand. And you have no
He
business
did.
asking anybody that. That you're
He
not
did.
like it would be different if that was your homie. Like if you and a person were close friends, yeah, sometimes close friends have weird conversations. But you know what I mean? But you don't know this man.
Right. But
So
I
to
think
ask him that is incredibly invasive.
that comes back to the pushing boundaries.
Hmm.
Like they push a lot of these guests, these VIP guests, they expect to be treated a certain way and they feel like they can push boundaries because yes, like he asked Armand if basically anal sex was
Pleasurable.
enjoyable.
Hmm.
And what is most hilarious about that situation is Armand did not get offended by the question at all. Armand was like, "Oh, you're interested? Do you want to find out?" And the guy's like, "No, no." But Armand, like
The whole show.
from that point on, Armand's like, "I'm gonna get you. I think
He
you like
was. He was.
it." And
Armand's response to that question is my favorite part of the show.
it was so hilarious, but I can't even fault Armand because that's a wild question to ask me. We don't know each other.
Right.
And we're just at a bar talking, and you're all of a sudden asking me how anal sex feels. Like, clearly knowing that I'm not heterosexual, like I feel like okay, so you know how like in some like there was like a time where it was not okay to be gay, and so in order to like find partners and things like that, like gay people would like they would use innuendo and secret codes and all of all of that stuff to like try to find a partner without fully exposed. And I'm like, I feel like Armand was thinking that maybe that's what Mark was trying to do. So he's like, well, I'm gonna let you know that I'm interested. Even in front of his family, Armand was like, let me know. You can get it.
Anything I can do for you?
And even the family picked up on it.
Yeah, Armand's responses.
That was hilarious.
That's a little weird. Yeah.
That
oh my
was
God. Yeah, that was hilarious. That was my favorite part of the show.
So yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't know that his question was necessarily rooted in homophobia, but I think it was rooted in the why was this, it was 1,000% it was inappropriate, but why was this thing more important than me and my mom and our family? Like, I think it was what he was trying to question, because he felt like his dad doing that like was more important, somehow took away from his dad being his dad and being there for him, because he had the secret life and he ended up dying because of it. And I just think of course he just got this information, so he's trying to figure out all of his feelings. But the fact that you did not know, and the fact that you had all of these fond memories of your dad, it like should let you know that he did not choose the lifestyle over you. It was just a component that you did not know about.
And maybe he can get to that one day, but you also, like, I don't know. I'm like, I can't get past the fact that you are still in a relationship with mom. Like, you've taken my mom essentially off the market and taken her in a place where she never gets a chance to find love. And you are exposing her to because the other thing is like, okay, your dad, you now know your dad died of AIDS. Did he expose your mom? Did they stop sleep? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know what I
and
mean?
No, we don't know enough about the mom to
questions.
know what, from her perspective, we don't know what she had going on the side.
What
we don't
she
know
knew
how
about, what she didn't know about. Like, you know,
we
what
don't
I mean?
know anything about that.
And I don't know if his mom is dead too, but like, to me, all of that would be running through my head. Like, oh my God, so you've exposed my mom to this. You know what I mean? Like, I would be like, I just feel like his breakdown was understandable. And like, it would get, but the where he went a step too far was the way he was talking to our mom.
Well, and also revealing that situation that the mom wanted private.
Right, to his son. But even the way he was talking to his son too, like, because he also fed his son that emasculation BS, and to the point where you could tell, because his son parroted it back, and you could tell, I'm like, oh, so they're training him to think that he's somehow oppressed because he's a white man.
Yes.
Both of them.
I told you, they are terrible parents. They're terrible parents.
Yeah, and I'm like, the son already has issues connecting with people, and you've already set him up to believe that successful women are emasculating to men.
Right. I do actually want to talk about the son next. Okay. And I have a very controversial take that I will tell you when we discuss this.
Go ahead.
So Quinn, he seems to be like, he's like 16, and he didn't have a friend that he could bring on the trip, and he spends way too much time on his phone and like playing like video games, and he really doesn't know how to exist like out in the real world. But he also, his sister, like, he doesn't have a good relationship with his sister. Like, his sister is mean.
His sister is evil. Like, she has no empathy for him at all.
None. And I just think that that is very, very strange. Like, I know that
Mhm.
not every sibling relationship, not every sibling group is super close, but
Mhm.
like you never really see her show him any kindness.
None. None.
And
But
it's
she doesn't
very,
show
very
anybody
odd.
kindness. But she doesn't show anybody any kindness, but she's particularly harsh with him and the mom. She's harshest with the
Right.
two of them.
Right. And I can't understand it. But my question is, he's 16 and he's acting like this. I don't understand why his parents have not intervened and done something.
Some kind of intervention with him. Yeah. I cannot understand, and I know this is a minor point. With all the money they have, why did they get them separate rooms?
No, that is a huge, it's not a minor point, it's a huge point. That room, the room situation does not make sense.
Mm-mm.
She is a CEO. Why
Hmm.
would you get a suite with one bedroom and three children
Three
when you,
adults, size children. Like they're like he's
right,
16. The two girls are in college, but they're all physically adults. Like
right,
they're not little
exactly.
kids.
And they're all not girls. Like, there's a
Right.
guy, a 16-year-old boy, and
Hmm.
with your daughter's teenage, like
College age
grown
friend
friend, it doesn't make sense. There should have been at the very least one more bedroom.
at the very least. Yeah.
I could not
You could have put
understand
him
that.
on the couch, but like
Right.
you definitely should have had them girls in a separate bedroom. Um, the daughter alludes to this, and I've seen this with other people on the spectrum, so I don't know if he's had this issue in the past or if she's just being mean because she's just so freaking mean. But she just alludes to him being inappropriate in front of the friend, which
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when you don't have, you don't know the social rights or wrongs like you will be. But to me, that was like the most genuine concern. She just didn't know how to express it, or the mom just wasn't willing to receive it. But I'm like, no, you absolutely should not expect the three of them to be in the same place overnight. The girl needs to change. She needs, and that's not his sister.
Right. Yeah, I could not understand that. I think that that was the weirdest thing ever because
Hmm.
once again, this woman is a CEO.
Hmm.
So at the even if they did not have a suite with two bedrooms, she could have gotten the girls a
In their
separate
own room.
room.
They're college age. They can
Right.
be in their own room.
Yeah,
And you have
that
and
is
the
the
16-year-old
thing.
stay with you.
I could not for the life of me figure it out. I'm like, her mom is so type A. Like,
Hmm.
her mom, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how this is like the living situation we ended up with.
Yeah.
It it
Like
did
I'm like,
it did not
for
make
him to
sense.
have to like sleep in the kitchen with no air conditioning. Oh my god.
And that's because his sister put him in the kitchen. The
She
mom was
did.
like, they can all sleep out here. Why are you a CEO and you got your son sleeping on a rollaway?
Hmm.
And he's like, not he's
He's
16.
he's a big 16. Like he's like the size of a grown man.
Right. If it was so cool, why didn't you put the girls in the bedroom and you and your husband slept on the couch with your son?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If that was a cool living situation.
Yeah, that never made sense to me. Like I definitely feel like the girls should have had their own room
And
at
then
the very
the
least.
daughter complained and the mom just completely discounted
Ignored it.
her.
And I'm like, and again, the daughter is such a bitch. It's hard. It's hard to, you know what I mean? You kind of understand sometimes, but in that moment, that was the one time where I was like, no, her complaint is valid.
Hmm.
Her complaint is valid. Like, no, she's trying to protect her friend. And I'm like, it wouldn't be a far fetch to me that this boy could be inappropriate.
Right.
And like everybody alluded to the fact that he had a particular addiction to his phone,
Hmm.
um, kind of addiction with like the materials that he watched on his phone. And so I'm like, and again, you don't want the girl feeling uncomfortable
Right.
that you brought along with you.
So I personally was like really excited
Hmm.
when like Quinn, like the son's name is Quinn, when he met like the Hawaiian guys who were doing like the paddling and
Hmm.
he started like doing it with them.
Me
And
too.
I was really, my controversial take is his parents should have allowed him to stay
Oh,
and
girl,
keep
that's
doing
real
it.
controversial. He's 16.
I here okay, so hear me out. Okay. He is 16, but you can tell that they do not give their kids a lot of parental guidance
Hmm.
and that they pretty much do what they want when they want to do it.
Hmm.
They are financially stable enough that they can make sure he has a safe place to stay and that
Hmm.
he has all his financial needs met. But and like even if he let, I don't know what time of year it was, let's assume that he would miss the rest of the school year. They
Hmm.
have enough money that they can either hire him a tutor while he's out there in Hawaii or send him to some sort of private program to make it up. But what he would get from spending time with those guys are things that he needs. He
Yeah.
needs male interaction. He needs socialization. He needs to learn teamwork. He needs to learn
He
that
needs to
he's not the
interact
most important thing in the
in the world.
world.
And you need to interact with non-white people because your family has some really weird racial stuff.
Right. But also, like, this is good. It would help him with his college application. So many, like, if you know he probably has good grades and he went to a good school and he probably has good SAT scores. Honestly, these days, that's not enough to get you into a good school. You need something different. So
Hmm.
imagine if he could write an essay about how he went to Hawaii and, like, learned this skill and was able to help this team accomplish this thing. It
Hmm.
actually would make him stand out.
Um, he still needs a parent. He's 16. He does not have any social skills. There's clearly some kind of issue there that they have not confronted. So, like, I will say that if the dad was willing to stay with him in Hawaii, but if you let him stay in Hawaii by himself, he's going to become somebody else's problem. Like, as in somebody else is now going to have to take care of your son because there's just certain things that he's not able to do for himself. That
They could hire somebody.
even
Like
another. But what is the dad doing? He got a real job. He can stay.
I
He
don't
can
know.
stay with them.
I don't know what the like. I wouldn't have an issue with the dad staying, but I really hated how they dismissed it completely out of
Mhm.
hand and did not even try to figure out a
Mhm.
way for it to happen. And they were not recognizing the benefits.
Yeah.
It's like they don't care about their kids for real. They
Mhm.
care, like they're willing to, like,
I don't know.
they
I
will
feel
get,
like
they're willing to give them material things. They are,
yeah,
but like they're not meeting their kids' emotional or developmental needs, and you can see it because
definitely
the
not.
daughter is the spawn of Satan and the
Mhm.
son is barely functional as a human.
The daughter is definitely Satan's favorite daughter, but I don't think like I to some degree I agree because I agree, but like I'm like I just feel like most parents when a teenager asks them, "Can I'm just going to stay here and live on my own," they would have dismissed it, you know.
I
But
don't.
I do agree if they had known what it was doing for as the person who tried to leave the house since they were 8, there's so many different proposals I put in front of my parents of how I was going to live on my own that they dismissed because I'm like I was a kid.
Yes, but you
So I'm
also
like
know
I
from a
feel like any
super
parent
rich
would have did
family.
that.
The
That's
super
true.
rich, they don't do things the way
Right,
that
the
we
way
do.
normal people do. So
They
I'm like,
don't.
I
A
kind of,
16-year-old,
yeah,
like they would have their own. They could very easily like have their own place and be living
yeah,
their own separate life.
I guess so. I guess I mean, like, and mind you, I get the benefits of him staying there, and I was sad for him because I was like, dang, that really would be good for you, but it would require sacrifice. I feel like the dad should have stayed and lived there in Hawaii. That would give him and the wife some separation that they need to get some perspective,
Hmm.
and that would have been to me that would have been my best case here scenario. But like leaving him to be there on his own so he can now be the responsibility of the people of Hawaii, no.
I think my issue is that they did not even consider it. They dismissed it out of hand the same way that they dismissed the daughter out of hand
Hmm.
when she was complaining about having to share a room with her brother and it not being comfortable.
Hmm.
Like when these kids are expressing like a need from
Need
their
a real,
parents,
yeah.
they just dismiss it out of hand without even giving it a second thought. And compound that with how often they're probably doing it
Hmm. Hmm.
about other things. And it's
Yeah.
like, yes, your kids are ungrateful for the life that you're providing them, but
Hmm.
you're also ignoring them when they
When
want something that's
you're
not
not meeting their
financial.
needs. Yeah, and needs are not just financial. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
So
I
yeah,
give
I
that.
think I'm like, oh no, he needs to stay. Like, make it happen. Like, when you have resources,
Hmm.
you can make anything happen.
You
There are
can.
things like, oh, well, you can't live there by yourself. Okay, well, find someone who can like be a house manager for him and make sure that like
No,
he's
no.
taken care
You
of.
that is your child. You stay there. No. because like all I see is him becoming a burden to somebody else.
If
Like
they're paying a house manager, like that'd probably be a good job for someone.
that boy needs so much. He needs so much. I don't want no that I don't want that to become somebody else's responsibility.
I don't know how much he really needs. Well, this is the thing. I like it's very obvious that he has issues, right?
Hmm.
But I think that his issues are lack of socialization. I'm like, I think that he would be getting
That's not
that
the only one.
socialization. Like he would be
Mm-mm,
learning
mm-mm.
how to put himself like not first. He would be learning teamwork. Like I feel like
Mhm.
this could help a lot of his issues.
He is likely undiagnosed on the
Hmm.
spectrum. He needs a diagnosis. He possibly has a porn addiction. He does need socialization. But like so like he would get the socialization and the team building and a lot of good things from that group, and I get that, but there's other stuff that those parents need to be attending to that they don't need to pawn off on someone else. Like at least be monitoring it, you know what I mean? Like at least like, okay, I'm going to stay here with him, I'm going to put him in therapy or some kind of like specialized treatment for whatever it is that he does, whatever diagnosis he does have, and he can do this paddle boat thing.
Well,
And then
I
the
just
last
feel
one, make
like
sure.
when they go home, they're not going to be doing any of those things. They're just going to
No,
go
but like
home.
that's still their responsibility.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I felt really bad for him because I'm like, oh, you actually found something that's not online,
That you
like,
enjoy.
and is meeting like some of your
Mhm.
needs and could possibly help you develop into a like more functional human being. And your parents are like, I could care less about that.
And a community that's accepting, because that's the other thing. Like when you don't fit in, it like sometimes like, and I can see like people in his world back home not even trying, but you had folks there that were willing to try with him and put in some effort. Like those guys were very accepting and very open and willing to try with him. And I
Hmm.
do think that's important too, because like some environments just aren't good for you, you know? And he's at a super rich elite private school. Yeah, them kids are not trying.
Hmm.
They're just writing you off as
No,
weird and moving on with their life.
right.
But yeah.
So yeah,
Okay, I do want to
I
talk
really
about the
like
friendship
I hate that
between
they just did that. You know.
yeah. I was gonna say I do want to talk about the friendship between the two girls on the trip.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah. So that was interesting. Their relationship, I'm like, I do not understand why the two of your friends. And here's the thing: the other, okay, so what are their names? Because I know you got the names. What are the two names? What are their
So
names?
Olivia is the daughter, and her friend's name is Paula.
Paula. Okay, so I do not understand why the two of you are friends. I don't think you actually either one of you likes the other one, but you are very attached to each other. Olivia is incredibly jealous of Paula. And I don't know what Paula is getting out of the friendship with Olivia, other than stuff like, being able to come. But I'm like, but if you're in her orbit, you may not have as much money as her, but I feel like you still would have some money. Like, so why do you need to attach yourself to her? But yeah, they are frenemies. They are not actual friends. And Olivia, Paula says it. She was like, she's okay with me as long as I don't advance past her or have more than she does. And as soon as she does, she tries to tear that down. And you see her do that actively. What are you gonna say?
I honestly think that they are friends because they are both mean girls and they both
Mhm.
have that same jaded view of the world that capitalism is bad, but I don't know what to do next. I don't really have real views, but I like to, like they have that same attitude, and
Mhm.
they obviously both love drugs,
They
and
do
like
love
they're
her.
frenemies, and there are certain sets of girls who that's all that they know of friendship is that frenemy
Mhm.
relationship.
Hmm. Yeah.
My question:
'Cause go ahead.
is Olivia in love with Paula?
Yes. Yes. I got that vibe too. Olivia is in love with Paula. She's very possessive of Paula. Um. Yeah. To a point where it's uncomfortable. I
It
feel like that's why
is
she
like the
tries to ruin all her
ASMR.
relationships. What was the ASMR?
When they were doing the drugs and she was like, you want to do some ASMR? And she's like lighting the lighter and rubbing her hair. It was really
Oh yeah,
intimate.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I know girl friendships are different.
They
Girl
are.
friendships, they do have a level of intimacy where it can still be platonic,
Hmm.
but that was still a little weird. I think it was because they were also like doing drugs. It just felt way intimate.
No, the level of possessiveness, and I try to remember because we've talked about this before. How like when you're that age where like you're coming out of high school, but you're not fully adult, you're kind of in college. Your friendships are everything, and they are kind of I don't know what the right word was, like enmeshed, like you're too involved in each
Yes,
other's lives. But it feels
yes,
even beyond that.
it does.
It does seem like she's in love with Paula, so she tries to sabotage any relationship that she has with a man. And I'm like from the point where you realize that Paula doesn't want to tell her that she met a guy that she likes, because I'm like, that would be the whole topic of discussion. If we were on a resort together at that age and we were single and one of us met a guy that we liked, oh my God, we would be talking about that the whole time. So,
Absolutely. It would be a huge deal.
okay. We would encourage each other because we got good sense.
Right.
But the fact that she had to keep it private and that she had to hide it and sneak off, like I get you sneaking off from the parents, but like we would have snuck off from the parent and covered for each other. Like you,
Right.
she has to sneak off from her friend. That was weird.
Olivia was also interrogating her about the guy.
Hmm.
Like it wasn't like, ooh, he's so cute. Like it
Tell me
was
about him.
like,
What do you know about
why are you
him?
looking at him and like, do you like him? It was it I think I'm quite sure that Paula's family is not as like advanced as economically advanced because
Hmm.
you can tell
Yeah,
one, I don't know what Paula's ethnicity is.
uh, ambiguous.
Very ambiguous. Like she could easily be like she looks like she could be like indigenous,
Hmm.
but she looks like she could also be like Latina, although those are not mutually exclusive
Yeah,
depending on like how you're, but then she could also be Asian. I don't know.
yeah, she could be a lot of different things, but she
She could.
clearly has some tint to her skin,
She
and
does.
yeah,
You can tell that she at the very least has experienced some levels of oppression
yeah,
based on her like identity.
absolutely,
You can tell that. So although she is friends with Olivia and she does have some of those mean girl like tendencies, you could tell her frustration at being around these people who are very rich, very privileged, and don't really understand what real life is like.
yeah,
And so I think that she does enjoy her friendship with Olivia because it does give her access to some things that she doesn't have access to, but it
hmm,
also allows her to know and understand her enemy.
mm, okay,
But I don't think that like Paula is like a great person. She's not a terrible person, but
hmm,
she is more flawed than she's willing to give herself credit,
yeah,
because you are still like in a lot of ways aligning yourself with these systems that you say that you don't believe in.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Even spending time with this family who has made multiple racially, and I assume like this is not the first time you spent time with her family because they
Mm-hmm.
seem very familiar. So they make comments like this in front of you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then even her and the dad get into it at dinner, kind of like the dad is being really
Right.
inappropriate and saying some really racially insensitive stuff directly to her, almost like, demanding that she explain or something like that. So, and you still can choose to be around these people.
Right. Now I'm going to tell you where Paula really, really goes off the deep end for me.
Hmm.
When she formulates this plan with the guy that she met at the resort and convinces him to rob the rich family so that he can use the money, for to help out his community.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
That's where
One,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm gonna say one, it's crazy because like even though these are not the greatest people, they still took you in and took you on a trip with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, like you did not think of the consequences if things go bad at all.
And that's where I feel like her privilege is showing that she's still growing up somewhat affluent and in a different world that she does not even consider the consequences for him. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Because, like, I'm like, if you really thought through this, you would have stole it and then just gave it to him because there
Right.
would not have been consequences for you,
Hmm.
you know?
Absolutely.
But no, you
Like
craft this ridiculous plan where he goes into the room, like risking his job, his livelihood, everything,
his
his freedom.
freedom, and like he did not want to do it. He's like,
No, he
I'm not a
didn't.
thief. That's not how I operate. Like she really browbeat this boy
Hmm.
into committing like a robbery that he did not want to do for money he did not ask for.
Yeah.
He did not ask her for anything. He didn't ask her for any money.
No.
He was just getting to know her, letting her get to know him. And she
Hmm.
comes up with this asinine plan, which of course falls apart. And he ends up in jail and she ends up crying because she feels guilty.
Right. But going back to your previous life.
Right.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
who's there to pick up the pieces but
Hmm.
Olivia trying to get in?
Girl. And I'm like, run. Paula, run. Run from this family.
I
And then,
honestly was hoping that Kai was going to snitch on her and and say that she was involved because she deserved to face the consequences because she created that situation.
hmm, that dumb plan. The
And I
dumbest plan ever.
hate that he is the one that felt the consequences of her
Me too.
crazy idea.
Me too.
So I just like so the fam at the end of the trip, because Kai, the wife, ends up
Hmm.
coming back to the hotel early and is there when Kai is trying to rob the safe. The husband gets to be a hero and he gets to come in and swoop
Yeah.
in and save his wife. Like their relationship gets a bit of a boost. The kids, like because their family, like their parents were in danger,
Hmm.
soften towards the parents a little bit. um I so like I guess they leave in a slightly better position than they were, but it's so
Hmm.
superficial. I just don't think
Oh
it'll
yeah,
last.
and it's not gonna last. Yeah, exactly. It's not gonna last. Um, yeah, and and again, all these people are affected, and then they're better off, at least even slightly,
Hmm.
without having made any real change.
Well, right, and there's a worker that is hurt by it. Like if you
Will be
look,
in
there's a
jail forever now. I
correlation.
think. Yeah.
Belinda got hurt by Tanya, and
Hmm.
Kai got hurt by being associated with Paula, who's at this point a Mossbacher because she's on the trip with them. And it's like you like the once again boundaries get pushed, and they are taking, even though they come in having everything, they're
Hmm.
taking from the lesser people, and Kai ends up losing his freedom. And I just hate that for
Yeah.
him because he's a really nice guy, really sweet guy, and did not want to do it. I reiterate,
No, and
did
I wish
not
he would have
want to
said
do
no.
it.
I'm like, I'm so wish he would have said no. But she really, I feel like she pulled him in with this idea that he could reconnect to his community because he was already disconnected because he worked on the resort. And I think that's what really got
Hmm.
him. But I'm like, if you just took a step back and listen, like you ought to know this is not going to work well for you, and she's going to be fine.
Right, right. So, do you have any other parts of their story that you want to discuss?
And I think we did pretty good.
I think we covered, like, I think we really did
Uh,
a good job. We really
yeah,
covered all of them.
yeah.
Okay, so thank you guys so much for joining us for this episode. I'm really excited.
I'm ready for the next episode. I can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my slash shoes off, no remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.